Hey friends, it's Kelly here with Kelly Crafts It All. Today I thought I'd bring a little tutorial in case you're in need of a really quick gift box of some type. I had I did the one box and my measurements were all off, so I said, well, I'll redo it. But what we're making is this, okay? But I'm gonna do this in the Santa version. This is what I'm calling my elf version, and this is what I call my little elf gift box. It's made the same identical way, just change up your colors. That's all there is to it. But it'll come out to be this size. That one's a little bit bigger because I didn't cut my paper right. But this is the size. And I didn't like this belt buckle, so I had to redo it. I made it a little smaller. So yeah, I'm gonna show you how to make one of these today. And a little rundown, I guess, of where have I been for the past month and a half or so. Well, the whole month of November, I was just sick from day one. From the actually the 2nd of November, up till now, I've started to feel kind of pretty good now. But the first week of November, I was having chest pains, and I went to the emergency room. I believe it was like that Thursday. I think it was that Thursday. I was having chest pains, and they did because I do have cardiac history. I've had a heart attack before, and I had stents put in back in the day, and they said they didn't see anything, so they just kept me overnight, observation, sent me home. The next day, fine. Got through the weekend, I wasn't feeling too bad, and then Monday through Thursday, I was feeling kind of crappy. I was still having chest pains and stuff, and they assured me it was not cardiac related. I probably had an anxiety attack. I mean, it was all, acid reflux, the whole were 9 yards of, but my cardiac enzymes were fine, so I was like, okay. So the second week of November, I decided I'm going back to the emergency room. I went back to the emergency room on Friday, and they decided, okay, we're not fooling with her anymore. We're going to go ahead and send her to the hospital where her cardiologist is, which is an hour away. So off I went. They get me in there. They run their tests, and they're like, oh yeah, you're having I'm not exactly sure what they called it, but they said that one of my stents was clogged, and they had to go in there and take that stent out and replace it. So I had like a heart attack in my stent because my stent was blocked. So they took that one out, put a new one in, and I was fine. I have done so good since COVID started back in March of 2020 or whatever. Yeah, 2020. Never had it. Didn't go anywhere. First week in the second hospital, after having my stent fixed, I come home with COVID. So, didn't hit me really bad. It just felt like I had a bad case of the flu, or in a low-grade temp, and that was about it. Got over that, and then had respiratory issues after that, and I'm still getting over those. So, that's where I've been for the past month. And yes, I love to do the swap, and my poor swap partner, bless her heart, Miss Jane, I owe her a million thanks, because she waited on me to get her swap sent, and I finally got it sent, and she got it, and she's posted pictures. But enough of all that. Let's get on to what we're doing. So we're going to make a gift box. Okay. First things first. Let's see, what do we want to do first? First, I'm going to... Okay. First, I'm going to show you how I did this part. If you want this, you don't have to do this. Put a bow on top, decorate however you like. This is just inspiration, and my inspiration came from Leo from the Dreaming Tree, not sponsored. He has I'll link it down below in the description box. He does have a cut file for this, for Cricut, Silhouette, whatever, but it was simple enough, and I've made these boxes before and used them as gift boxes, and I thought, not everybody has a cutting machine or the dies or whatever, so let's try to do this on the fly, make it our own. Now this decoration I did cut from Cricut Design Space. Maybe you have a die of some sort. But I'm going to show you. I did cut this out of Cricut Design Space. I looked up holly leaves and found this one. And I disassembled another one to get the little gold pieces that go here. But I thought I'd show you how I put this together. So, let me see. Well, this is just a piece of fun foam that you get, you know, this is just Walmart. It's sticky on the back. Doesn't have to be sticky, whatever you got. And then I take my stylus. This is a Dollar Tree stylus, and it's the small end. And I just run it down the center on all three of them. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'll go about 2 times. Don't push real hard because it will cut your paper, puncture a hole in it. And then I'm just taking where those little points are, I go from that center, and I just kind of go out. Doesn't have to be perfect. You know, nothing in nature is perfect either, so. I'm not even. Okay, so we have that. And I'm going to get my little gold pieces right here. I'm going to use a little bit of glue. Now, my glue is a little bit watery because it's winter time here in Arkansas, and winter time, you know, it's cold pretty much everywhere. So, they do not send out our glitter glue during cold weather. So, I didn't get mine ordered in time, and I had to go, I get the Titebond Quick Thick Glue at Walmart, and it is super duper thick. It won't even come out this nozzle, so I have to water it down a little bit. Well, I was down to the last little bit of my glue, and I put it in my bottle, started putting, I only put like 5 drops from my, you know, from the faucet, let it drip, and I put about 5 drops, 7 drops in my bottle, and then I shake it up, and it's usually fine. Well, my husband started talking to me, and I couldn't remember if I put the water in or not, and I thought, well, I'll do it anyway, so I put 5 more in, and now it's a little too runny, so my paper buckles. But anyhow, what I do is I just squirt a little bit of the glue on my hand. Now, I've seen this on you know, Facebook, whatever, a gajillion times. Everybody does it. I learned it by my elementary art teacher taught us this when we were doing little pieces of paper. So I'm that little teeny weeny gold piece, and I'm just going to dab it in that glue. And then I'm going to just line that up in the middle of my holly as best as I can. And then that way you don't get a whole bunch of glue. If you feel like you're getting too much glue, just you can come over here and tap it on your hand again. And that'll get some of the excess off. If you hear something running and clicking off in the background, it's the fireplace here in my craft room. And then I'm just going to put this one on here like so. And then I did cut out these little pieces of, I think I put pine branches in Cricut Design Space, and I found these. But I just wanted to show you that part. And then you can ink your edges too. I did on the other ones, but I'm not for this one, just so we can get through this video. So, I'm going to put it back in my glue. Need that. We don't need that. We don't need that anymore. And I just rub it off. Okay, so what are we going to make now? We've got that part going. Got my hot glue gun. Oh, I just had a pick. These little floral berries. And that's what I use. I just found some. And it doesn't matter if they're single or solid. I just pick some off. Try to pick them off towards the bottom so that if I need to use that pick, you know, the top's not all And I ain't worried about those little white dots. I can glue those down on the bottom. So, I'll bring the holly leaves back. I'm gonna get my little silicone mat here. I get these with when I order heat transfer vinyl. Sometimes they're nice enough to send you one. And I'm just gonna have a liquid dab of glue. Sometimes I can get 3 off at a time and only have to glue it 1 time, but that wasn't the case this time. And just like that. And cool a little bit. And then you have these, and you can put these however you want. I usually wait till I get my box done and then I can see where I want them to go. Hope that'll be ready for us when we're ready. Okay, so what do we need? We need some cardstock. Now this I have made out of all of 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock. It took 4 sheets. You can use 12 by 12, you can use whatever you like. But this is what I have used. So you're gonna need 1 piece. This is the lid. This is cut it. Where it says DSP, that's going to be your designer series paper. We'll get into that in a little bit. This is the lid, and it's 8 by 5.5. And we're going to lay it in our scoreboard on the 5.5 inch side. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and 4.5. And that's all we're going to do for that. And then we have the front and the back. We need 2 pieces that measure 5.5 by 8. We're going to lay this on the 5.5 inch side and just score it at 1/2 inch. I'm going to do that to the other one. Same thing, 5.5 inch side. Score it 1/2 inch. Then we have our sides. You need 2 of these at 5 by 6. And you're going to score it 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. And you just rotate it. And that's all there is to that one. You'll also need 2 pieces that measure 8 by 4. This is going to be the bottom and the liner of the box. We do not score anything on those. And this is the other side, and I had already cut it just to get us ahead a little bit. So the side piece is about the only one I think that you have to actually physically cut. Now I have a corner rounder, and I'm going to use that. And I'm going to take this off of there. I did put a little arrow right here because you want to make sure your 6 inch side is up and down. Don't cut it like this because that won't fit. If you're unsure, get out your front and back, the front panel or back panel, and line up your score lines on the bottom and make sure that you're extending 1/2 inch above that box, because that is going to make this part of your box. So what I do is I'm going to take that off of there as well. On the bottom, because it's going to be different, the bottom, I'm just going to angle. Now you can, a lot of people like to just cut like this. I don't like to do that. I always end up cutting too much off. So I just go in here, lay my scissors in about maybe 1/8 of an inch, and angle cut. Boom. Oop. And I'm going to angle cut that one just like that, because I always cut too much off. Like so. And that's the bottom. Now the top, after you've scored, you're going to see 2 little squares on the top. You're going to just cut those squares out. Do not angle them. Just cut them straight on those score lines. And that's that. Now, if you want to corner around yours, you're fine. If you don't, you might want to angle the top part of this just a little bit. I'm going to fold the sides in. And you can fold your bottom in too while you're at it and just burnish that. And I'm going to have that 1/2 inch piece extending. I'm just going to lay that in my corner rounder. Give it a punch. And do the same thing on the other side, like that. And then I'm going to do it. I've already done this one. I did it to that side as well. So that is that. This goes together pretty quick once you get everything cut. So you have a front and a back. So we need a front and one side. And I am going to use my double-sided tape because, like I said, my glue is just a tad bit running. And it buckles. I don't angle these on the side. You can if you want. I don't like to. If it sticks up a little bit, I'll snip it off. But I don't like to cut the angles on it. To me, it weakens the corner of the box. Because you're cutting that off and then there's nothing for this little tip to grab onto. Now you might want to add extra tape to yours, but I'm not going to. Because I'm just trying to help, just get this together here. So you got your front and your side, and you're going to put your tape on the right side. Just, lay it to how it would be outside the box, and run your tape just on the two sides, on those two side tabs. Now don't take that tape off of that one yet, just one side. And then you're going to line this up to make sure your score lines on the bottom match. And you're just going to go up to that score line. Don't go over it, up to it. If you're having a hard time finding that, you can go ahead and fold this over. And now you're going to have to flip this backwards. Don't run that, or I mean you have this bottom here. And you can, well, wait a minute here. Okay. I'm so used to doing everything this way. But you can just line it up to that fold. Make sure your score lines. And then if you just barely tap it, you can do that. And then you can just lay that and fold it down. Okay? So we have the front piece, a side piece. Now we need the back piece. And that's going to go here. I need my bone folder. I like to make sure if I'm using tape, burnish down, and make sure you get the air bubbles out of your tape. Make sure it's bonded to the fibers of these papers. And once again, I'm just gonna like to start by the bottom. And line that up. Now we have our other side, and we're gonna do the same thing. Put two pieces of tape on those little 1/2 inch tabs. I'm putting my tape on, but I'm putting it closest to the score line. I'm just going to take one tape backer off. Slide that under, and I'm going to line up them score lines there, making sure I don't go over the score line. I'm just going to tack that corner on. And then you can just kind of fold this, or hold it, and line it up like that. Now this one's easy because all we got to do is just fold this side piece over. Remove your tape backing. And flip this front piece or back piece, whatever it is. Just kind of flip it over. And it should match up pretty well. I like to take the box and put it up and then push it the other way just to kind of give it a little squareness. So there, that's your box so far. Then you have your little tabs here. You could have folded them in. There you go. So now you have this liner piece, and this is 8x4. This is the bottom and the inside liner. So make sure you got your bottom pieces going in. If you do want to cut these angles at the bottom a little bit, you can. I just take a teeny weeny little piece off so they fit nice. Just, you're only going to go up to your score line. Don't go past it. If you do, you're going to have a hole in the side of your box. I'm going to just fold these down. I'm going to flip it back up. I might always dry fit first to make sure everything fits, and you might have to like maybe shave off just a hair because this is inside the box. So I always rather have it a little bit too big than too small, and I might just shave off like a 1/16 of an inch, if that. Go a little more. If you feel better doing it by scissors, you can. So, yeah. That was all I needed. I just needed to trim that little teeny sliver off, and that was how much I had. Okay, I'm going to take that back out now that I know that it fits. I always dry fit first before I glue or tape. This bottom piece I'm going to glue in. I'm just going to run a small bead of glue just on the edge of this liner piece. So, and then I'm going to flip those back out for just a second because I don't want to get glue all over them. And then I'm just going to lay this in here, like so, and fall into place. And then you can even just kind of take your edges and push up against that edge there. Make sure they're touching and they're nice and flush. Go on the side and do that one, and the side and do that. And that's all there is to that. So that's down. And if you have any little tiny spots poking up, usually just get a little tiny scrap piece of paper, cardstock, and I'll just tuck it up under there. That side does not want to stay. That's alright. I'm just going to run that glue in there. And I'll flip it. Push those corners back down. Like so. There we go. And then you have this, your bottom liner piece like this. And I like to use glue here because the glue kind of strengthens the paper. And I'm just gonna, I just lay it to one side here and kind of use my fingers to match it all up. Make sure I'm flush everywhere. If you're not and you have a little hangover, don't freak out over it. Just get that bottom one first, and we'll worry about any hangover in a little bit. Because we did, you know, so I do have a little tiny bit. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors and very carefully just trim that off flush. Don't go gouging into your box because you'll cut your edge off and then you'll have a nice hole. can even use your bone folder. Sometimes that works a little bit better. In there. Now I have a little bit, you know, it's a homemade box. Okay, then we have our lid. And I like to corner around my edges here. This is like a 1 inch, on the 1 inch score, you know, where we scored. And we have a 1 inch. Let's go there, round that off. Fold this, and fold this. And this is going to be, let's get these tucked back in where they belong. And this is going to fit right on top of here, like so. Now you can run glue and set it like that and put it, but I have a hard time. So what I do is I just flip this towards me now. Flip this backwards, like so. Then flip the lid upside down. And then I'm going to move those now out of my way again. And I will glue that like that. So I'm going to make sure I'm there. And I'm just going to run some glue. Now this part I like to glue because I did use tape before and didn't get it on there like straight. So I had like a sticky spot. And that just in... I'm just laying this down, and you can tuck it down inside and then get that to fit in there real nice. Make sure that you need to even lay your box down and work it. Like that. And then just, well, I did put mine flipped, so there. Just like that. If you have some glue here, you know, it'll be alright. It'll dry clear. And then this goes like that. Now you can stop right here and call that a day, call that the box. And just, you know, maybe use some Velcro, you know, little Velcro circles. You know, these, you know, forewarning, these are the Temu tiny Velcros. They stink. I don't like them. They're great when you first get them. They stick real nice. But after you undo them 1 or 2 times, they don't even stay together anymore. But I would just use a couple of those, you know, maybe one here, and then, you know, attach it. Or if you don't want to do that, you could take this and just tuck this inside. It fits real tight, and use that as a gift box. So you could stop right there if you want. And maybe just put your designer series paper on it and be done with it. That's not my way. We're going to zhuzh this up a little bit. So now, I have my designer series paper. Okay, now this is just some extra goodies, and we'll go over this stuff here in just a minute. So here's your designer series paper. You want to attach all your paper except for one back panel, whatever your back panel is. This is the back panel, and this is cut, designer series paper, or DSP, is cut at 4.5 by 7.5. So you need 2 of those. But the back one, set it aside so you don't do anything with it. So this is the front. It's 4.5 by 7.5. Like I said, you need 2 of those. You're going to need 2 pieces. 2 pieces for the side. And these are cut at 3.5 by 4.5. And you'll need 2 of those. And then you'll need 1 piece that measures for the lid 3 3/4 by 7.5. So, you know, you just start wherever you want. Let me start on the front of my box. Now, if you want to cut your paper a bit bigger, so you just have like on either one of these, I have just a really, 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 really tiny border. And then this one, I decided I was going to make it just a, you know, the Howie standard, you know, measure it and then take off a 1/2 inch. because if you're running low on designer series paper and you need to cut a little smaller, you can. So now I have my designer series paper. Don't mind the back of mine. I had printed this on red. I was running out of white paper. So I printed this on red, and I had to do it a darker color, and I didn't like the way this came out, so I just flipped it over, and instead of wasting paper, I just flipped it over and printed on the other side. Like I said, my glue's a little watery, so I'm trying to be very minimal with it. And you're just going to line this up straight as you can get it. Minus glue all over my fingers. You might want to flip it over and just rub your hand inside. If you have any lifting spots, you know, like on your corners here. Now I have quite a big spot there that didn't get any glue, so. But if it was just a tiny corner, I would just tuck some paper down in there. What I have. Okay. And then, you know, you just put your panels on. Except for the back one. Okay, so we got that. All we got left is this lid piece. My glue is just dripping everywhere. This is the 3 1/4 by 7 1/2 for the designer series paper for your lid. Let's see if we can do this without making a complete mess. I'm used to my glue being a little thicker. That. And now you can cut, now this part here, I cut this at 3/4 of an inch. And you can cut it however you want. And then this one I cut it 1/2 of an inch. And I want to do the corner round, but if I do, it's way too hard to do that. So I'm just going to get a scrap piece. This didn't print very good. And what I do is I just lay this in here, or lay this on here, like so. And then I got my corner punch, and I'm going to tuck that in there now with that. And do that, and make sure you do it on the same side. And then I'm gonna put that in there, and that just keeps it from, you know, shoving down in there. And then, I mean, if you want to ink your edges, you're more welcome to. And this is a 1/2 of an inch by 7 3/4. There we go. So now we have our box. And then bend that in just a bit more so that it'll fit. Now if you're a little wonky on your box and your lid's not, when you put your Velcro, or when we put this all together, you can kind of get this to go where you need it to go by putting a magnet. And we're going to do the belt in the little, you know, Santa fur or whatever. You're going to need 2 pieces. These are 2 1/4 by 5. And then you need one piece that's 2 1/4 by 8, I believe. Yeah, 2 1/4 by 8. And then you're going to score this at, before you do anything to it, score this at 1/2 of an inch and at 4 1/2. So we have those pieces done. The belt buckle. I use some gold foil, card, stock, whatever you want. And I cut the belt buckle, the gold part out itself at 2 by 2 3/4. Then I cut that little red piece to match. And then the middle is 1 1/4 by 2. And then I just glued that on top. And then I cut another piece that was the same as the belt buckle, the 2 by 2 3/4, and I just cut it just a teeny bit smaller. You don't have to, I mean, you can cut it the same size, but I just, you know, okay? So this is if you're using magnets. So I have 2 magnets. And I like to use my score tape. And I just put it on a magnet like this. I am going to pretty much just put this, let's see what I've got it on this one. It's like towards the bottom, but towards the bottom in the middle. And I want to say, I have got that magnet from the bottom of the magnet, about 3/4 of an inch or so. Doesn't have to be exact. So we did that, and I'm going to release this back of paper and then get my back piece here to cover up my magnet, and I'm going to glue this on here as neatly as I can. Because you will see it. Now get your piece that you scored, the 2 1/4 by 8. I am going to, I just use those little these, whatever you call them, those little scissors. This is called Fiskars paper edgers. This is the Victorian, and that's what I used. But I have this little wing sticking out, and I don't like it. I'm going to trim it even. And it's going to get covered up. That's why I said don't put the back panel on, because this is going to go back here. And you'll cut, and that way you cover it up. So I'm going to put this on, fold your score lines. I'm going to put this on my box where I want it to go, okay? Now you could glue this on already if you want to. It wouldn't hurt anything. Matter of factly, let's just do that. I'm just gluing that little 1/2 inch tab in this very first part to that score line. Okay, now put this on, you know, center up your box, get it where you want it to go. If you want to measure, have at it. I'm gonna eyeball mine. And that looks pretty good to me. And then you've got to glue that part right here. And what I like to do is I just lay mine down. I'll just take my nail, or you could even take your score tool. I take this in on and barely, just barely put a little line there. Or a pencil. I'm just going to lay that down. Buckle on, and this goes about, let me flip this around for you. This is going to sit right in the center of this belt buckle, and then, you know, you can go flush with it if you want. If you corner around it, you might just want to stay up just a hair so that the edges aren't poking off the edge. So, and then you to put this together like this with your magnet. Make sure when you do this, though, you're paying attention where that magnet is, because if you don't, You might get your magnet in the wrong spot. So my magnet's right there. And like I said, it was about 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, so this is the bottom of my belt buckle. And if you get glue all over your silver or your gold part, don't worry about it. We'll clean that up in a bit. So I'm just going to lay this down. I'm going to center this up. Come down a little bit. And once again, here. You don't want to do it hard enough that you're going to make it bend there, but just make a line or a pencil. And I'm going to center it back up to that line. And if you want, you can come back here in the back and do it. If your glue will allow you to move it. And you get it centered there. Okay. And if you want to do this and put your Velcro, you put a couple Velcro dots there. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Because, you know, that little, it's going to cover it anyway. So you could do it this way and it probably won't hurt nothing. Like I said, now I have glue on the back of that and glue here. And that's going to tell me where to put my magnet. Give me a piece of tape. Try not to move your magnet. And don't take that tape off yet. Okay, so this is really soft paper, and I didn't like it. So take this off. Get your glue. Mine has a texture on one side. And then you're just I'm gonna eyeball mine center as best as I can. And I'm gonna flip this down and make sure I'm even. Yep, looks pretty good. I'm just flipping this box over and rubbing that together. Okay, there we go, there we go, there we go. All right. Now you have these are 3/4 of an inch by 12. Now, for this little belt buckle, I just have a dry paper towel. And you can wet it. I just have a little spray bottle off to the side. Just damp. And then just real easy, wipe that glue off. You don't want it soaking wet. And that'll take that glue right off of there. Okay? Like I said, don't mind my box. This was thin paper. I should have used my other paper. Now this is the back one. Okay? We're going to put our designer series paper on first. But what I want to tell you is before we do that, what I like to do is I like to measure this and I want to go down about 1/8 of an inch. Okay? So it might hang over a little bit, but when you cut this 5-inch piece, just take about 1/8 of an inch off of it for the back. Now we can put this back piece on. And if you have directional paper, be sure to line it, you know, put your paper going in the right direction. Oh, that's off. Wow. That's a little better. Open this up. And smash it. Okay, so there we go. That's the fans, huh? And then all you have left to do is put these on. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to wrap yours around, you can. I don't like to. I like to measure it to the box. I'll just lay it right to the edge. Boom. Put it where I want it. I'm just going to put put a tiny little crease where the edge is. Then I just line it up, edge to edge. And you get, if it's paper trimmer, scissors, whatever you want. You just put this wherever your little heart desires. I'm going to go centered right there. And, you know, if I didn't like that, I could cut another piece and just, you know, lay over top of it if you like that better. Or put your black on first before you do this. And then, you know, the drill, just, you might need 3 strips. If you're doing 11-inch, you more than likely will. And then I'm just gonna or you want to measure it, you know, go ahead. I don't like all that measuring nonsense. Now I'm just going to lay this right beside it. Try to line it up straight as best as I can. Now my back panel is not on very good. Now I will go back and re-glue all this. And then you have this piece here, which is too short. You can use it for your end here. And then I would have to cut a thin. But I would put, you know, one more piece here and then one on the back. And then you might need to take this and kind of give it a little push so that it'll find its magnet. Like I said, you would glue all this down really, really well. And then you have your little decoration. And then before I put it on the box, I like to just kind of give this a little squish. Put your finger in there or pencil or something. And just give a little dimension. And then I like to lay these. Now you don't have to put these on here. It's fine how it is. Or put a little bow of some sort. That, so I'm just gonna hit that with a little bit of glue. Now you could use hot glue here if you want. I'm just using regular glue because the last time I used hot glue on there, I burnt myself. Now this I will hot glue down because it's heavy. Heavy-ish. Just like that. And you can take these and curl them up. And there is a Santa box, or a box disguised as a Santa, where you can make the elf one. Doing the same identical thing, just changing the colors up to green. So, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and make yourself finish my box now and get it to looking better. But that is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I will see you guys in the next one. I'm gonna do something. I've got something in mind, so just stay tuned for that. All right, guys, you guys take care, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and always check that description box for links and any other little things I think you might want to see. All right, guys, bye-bye.